Good day, everyone. We are from Group 6 Alcala and we will be discussing the local materials used in contemporary arts, the artists involved, and their artworks, as well as games in between. To start off, what are the three types of houses in the Philippines? There are still different types of houses, but these three are the only ones we will be discussing. Next slide, please. What are its differences? The three houses differ in terms of the shape and materials used to construct them. The Bahay Kubo is a house built with a thatched roof and wooden frame but lacks resilience during storms. On the other hand, Ivatan house is pretty similar, however its walls are made up of stones, which is more promising during calamities or natural disasters. And lastly, the modern house, one of the houses we mostly see today and we mostly use today, is constructed with cement and exudes a sense of wealth. Next slide, please. In terms of structure, on the other hand, what are its differences? Since the three houses were constructed on different dates and periods, building knowledge varies, and this is why different materials were utilized to construct. Bahay Kubo was invented during the 1850s, the Ivatan Coral House was invented in 1887, and lastly, the modern house was discovered during the modern era. Next slide, please. Thank you so much. I will now pass the time to the next reporter, Eliora Gonzales. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Let us now move on to the local materials in the Philippines that are used for arts and crafts. As we all know, the Philippines is rich in natural resources and we have a lot of materials we can use in creating different artworks, such as first is abaca. Abaca, also called as Manila hemp, is extracted from the leaf sheath around the trunk of the abaca plant, which is a close relative of the banana. Its fiber has a fat, natural luster with colors ranging from pure white to ivory and dark brown. The of abaca is used in creating handicraft products such as handbags, furnitures, hats, and many more. Next slide, please. Next is bamboo. Because of the bamboo's combined strength and lightweight, it is used mostly in building materials. It is mainly used in construction such as flooring, roofing, roof designing, and scaffolding. Next slide, please. Buri. Buri is extracted from matured leaves of buri palm. It is the most common palm found in the Philippines. Its fiber is durable and resistant to moisture. That is why it is used in the manufacture of placemats, hats, and braids. Next slide. Capiz shells can be harvested by hand picking in shallow, muddy shores or diving in deep water. The shells have been used for thousands of years as a glass substitute because of their durability and translucence that still allow privacy. It is used primarily in the manufacture of lampshades, trays, mats, and bowls. Next slide, please. So, rattan. Rattans are naturally found in the Philippine dipterocarp forests and are distributed throughout the country. It belongs to the palm family. There are two types of rattan palm, high or low climbers and single-stemmed or clustered rattan. Rattans are locally used for crafting mat, baskets, fish traps, dyes, and medicines. Next slide, please. Seashells. Seashells are hard exoskeletons of marine mollusks that serve to protect and support their bodies. These are commonly found in beach drift and are very often washed up an- onto a beach empty and clean. It is used in crafting jewelry, buttons, inlays, and other decorative items. Let us now move on to the next reporter, which is Miss Ramirez.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Gonzales. Now, let's take a look at the three questions in the second part of the short answer test. First, what is the importance of using locally available resources in creating art? It's convenient to create art when you use available local resources because being able to use materials that can be found closer to the artist can help in saving time and money, resulting in lower costs of production. Second, how do materials affect the way the art is made? The materials used in making an artwork affect its quality. They also add something special to the creative process and the finished product itself. In simple words, it is what makes the artwork unique. And for the last question, what resources are available in your locality and what art product can you make out of these available materials? Our city's official flower, the sampaguita, can be preserved and can be used for decorating interiors, making floral art, and also other crafting projects that incorporate flowers. At first, the crossword puzzle was originally called Word Cross. Arthur Wynne, a journalist in New York World, introduced the first crossword puzzle in December 1913. He was assigned to make a new feature for the newspaper's Sunday Fun section, which led him to brainstorm for new games and puzzles. Arthur's first published crossword puzzle in 1913 was a huge success, and other papers quickly followed. What are the materials and equipment used by contemporary artists? Number 1. Words are used by writers in creating novels, poetry, fiction, and nonfiction. Number 2. Watercolor is an example of pigment used by painters. Third, the human voice, along with sounds and instruments, is used by musicians and singers. Number 4. Photographers capture images using cameras. Fifth, fabric is produced by weaving cotton, nylon, wool, silk, or other threads together. It is used for making clothes. Number 6. Wood can be used to produce a wooden figure or figurine. Seventh, the stage is the designated space for the performance of productions for art actors and performers. Number 8. Silk screen is used for printing to create a picture or pattern by forcing ink or metal onto a surface through a screen of fine material. Number 9. Lastly, the conga dance is a Latin dance of African-Cuban descent. It is performed as a part of the carnival celebrations. I will now pass the time to the next reporter, Mr. Orbe.
Used in contemporary arts, I would now like to proceed with the arts and their famous artists. So, first, clay. Clay is the result of granite rocks being eroded by nature and is the most suitable material for making ceramics. On account of its pliable nature, clay is easy to shape and can keep that shape after being fired. The ceramic industry based on these principles is one of the oldest in the world. So, as I have said, what is clay? Clay is the result of granite rocks being eroded by nature. So, granite rocks at first is a type of sedimentary rocks. So, sedimentary rocks are type of rocks that is above earth, or all of those stones that we are seeing right now. And those stones are being eroded by the erosion agents through time. So those erosion agents are like water or wind or the air that we know. So because of erosion or eroding of rocks, it is formed into a powder-like form. And those powder-like form, when mixed with water, is gonna form the clay that we know, the one that is pliable, that's bendable, and those clay is being formed by the sculptor or the artist of the pot or the pottery that we see. So for our famous artists, we have here Noriko Kurisumi. So who is Noriko Kurisumi? Noriko Kurisumi is a Japanese artist based in New York City who creates ceramic sculptures with exquisite sensile forms inspired by the harmony and balance of the ocean. X-Ray Mag interviewed the artist to learn more about her artwork and perspectives on art and nature. So her work is seen in the picture on the slide. So next slide please. The next art to be discussed is piano. So a famous artist known for playing piano is Martha Argerich, an Argentinian classical concert pianist. She is widely considered to be the greatest pianist of all time. Furthermore, she is known for mastering the aspects of dexterity and speed when it comes to playing piano. So, what is piano? The The piano is a keyboard instrument that produces sound by striking strings with hammers, characterized by its large range and ability to play chords freely. It is a musical instrument that has a broad appeal. So, next slide please. The next art to be explained is the camera. So, we all know about the camera, the DSLR, the traditional camera. We all have camera on our phones if we have one. So, because it is built in by the company or the producer of the phone. So, a camera is a device for recording visual images in the form of photographs, films, or video signals. A famous photographer is Saiza Cruz Bacani, who happened to be a Filipino. As seen on the slide, she took a picture of a family having fun in the living room, but with a black and white effect. As a viewer, this depicts the yin and yang of every situation. That is, there is good and bad behind every scene, and it is up to the audience of the art how to understand the meaning behind it. So Saiza Cruz Bacani is known for her black and white pictures and meaningful story behind it. So next slide please. And thank you for that. Let's now head on the next reporter, Miss Imperial. You can now take the stage.
Salamat Ginoong Orbe. Artists a while ago are really amazing, isn't it? But wait, there's more. Lang Dulay is an artist from the Philippines who made the Bulang Langit, the Barking, and the Kabingi. Lang Dulay is one of the most famous weaver in the Philippines. He is also known as a dream weaver. At the age of 12, Lang Dulay learned to weave and maintain the motif of tinalak weaving. Tinalak weaving is made of abaca fiber, and Lang Dulay is most known artist of tinalak weaving because of her style and skill. Next, we have our extraordinary maker, Gabor Siki. He is one of the most famous film prop makers. Gabor is an engineer, but when he visited the prop workshop, his life changed. He does metal cutting, carving, sanding, and many more. Can you imagine Hollywood film without good props? Thanks to the film prop makers like Mr. Siki that continue to help Hollywood film to bring to life. She is one of the most famous ballerina of all time. Anna Pavlova is a Russian ballerina and choreographer. She used her body to make an art, and she is the best ballerina who did the dying swan. Before she died, she developed modern ballet and reminded us that our body is an art. Did you know that cement can turn into art? Well, I introduce you Mr. Henry Moore. He is one of the most important British artists of the 20th century. He is known for his semi-abstract sculpture, and Mr. Henry used cunning lime, clay, sand, gravel mixed with the water to make cement. Surely architecture and engineers are indeed both artists. Miss Alexa, you may take the floor now.
Thank you, Miss Imperial. Edward Abbey was a key figure in the second half of the 20th century's American nature writing, and he was also one of the most outspokenly political. Abbey believed that all authors had a responsibility to speak the truth, especially unpopular truth, especially truth that offends the powerful, the rich, the well-established, the traditional, the mythic. He preferred to think of himself as a novelist who wrote non-fiction pieces, which he refers to personal histories. On the side, few people have written with such affection for freedom and wilderness, especially as represents of the wilderness. Manuel Antonio Rodriguez Sr. was a Filipino printmaker who went by the moniker Mang Maning. He was later dubbed the father of Philippine printmaking after receiving multiple awards for his contributions to the industry and to the national awareness. Peter Laszlo Perry was a sculptor and artist. Perry's work was visually diverse, ranging from abstraction and constructivism to the realism and humanism of his big figurative public sculptures from the 1950s. He had left a groundbreaking collection of work that was marked by his social consciousness and the spirit of the post-war years.
Once again, we are the members of Group 6 Alcala. So that is all for our report, which is Module 1 Local Materials Used in Contemporary Arts. We hope you learned something. Thank you and have a nice day to all.